everyone enjoys a good movie at the theater. However, some of them are very lengthy. Today, we bring you the top 10 longest movies ever made. Welcome to Unique Top 10s. The Godfather Part 2 is a movie made in 1974. It's a gangster film, a crime epic and a masterpiece. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola and serving as both a prequel and a sequel to 1972's The Godfather, Part 2 is a cinema classic revolving around Al Pacino as Michael Corleone and Robert De Niro's Oscar-winning portrayal of Vito Corleone during two different time periods. Running for 3 hours and 20 minutes long, The Godfather Part 2 continues to be respected today and is often considered one of the finest achievements ever in the film industry. Giant is a classic 1956 movie. It is one of those movies that you must see before you die. With a running time of 201 minutes, Giant earned its director an Academy Award. But James Dean didn't even live to see the final product, unfortunately, because a car crash took his life when he was just 24. Following the tale of a Texas ranching family, the drama is a multifaceted and visually stunning one that tackles social, political, and racial issues with depth. Today, it remains a classic of American cinema and further cemented Dean's status as a cultural icon. Part of the famous trilogy, it was released in 2003. The conclusion to Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy is epic fantasy at its absolute best. At least, that's what an overwhelming amount of critics and moviegoers seem to think. Well, after all, The Return of the King earned 11 Oscar statues and $1 billion in box office receipts around the world. The spectators follow hobbits Frodo and Sam with the One Ring, as well as Gandalf, Aragorn, and more as they battle Sauron. The film is 201 minutes of incredible effects, emotional storytelling, and so much more. The Irishman was released last year. It is an incredibly Dostoevskian statement from Scorsese. Its 209 minutes, for the most part, fly by. There's an unfortunate shapelessness to the first 20 or so minutes, which introduces us to a very young and, off-puttingly, de-aged De Niro and how he managed to go from meatpacking driver to finally get into the mob business as a hitman. At that point, the drama starts to elevate, the de-aging a little less of a distraction, and we are thrust into 1960s America filled with crime, both societal and political. It doesn't let up for the next 3 hours, with only a few, very short, dull stretches here and there, as a whirlwind of characters and plot twists are thrown at us at fervor speed. The Irishman could have surely benefited from being actually a little longer. One of the all-time classics, this movie was released in 1959. Ben-Hur dominated the Oscars following its 1959 release. In the epic historical drama, Charlton Heston stars as a rich Jewish prince during the time of Jesus, who is turned into a slave by the Romans. Years pass, and then Ben-Hur is after his former childhood friend who turned against him. The William Wyler-directed film is also known for the scene showcasing a 9-minute-long chariot race, as well as its lengthy but fitting score, all of which serves to fill this epically long film with so much excitement it seems much shorter than it actually is, which is 212 minutes. This great piece of movie art was released in 1956, quite some time ago. If you're looking for a religious epic that won't disappoint, then The Ten Commandments is a safe bet. Adapting the biblical story of Moses onto film, the Cecil B. DeMille production is 3 hours and 40 minutes of pure entertainment with versatile performances. Extravagant, excessive, and bold, the Oscar-winning film was also one of the highest-grossing flicks of the 1950s and DeMille's last work before his unfortunate death. A must-see film from the 60s decade, 1962 to be more specific. Over 40 years have passed, and this Oscar winner still sets the standard for greatness in the epic adventure genre. And what an epic it is! At 3 hours and 42 minutes, Lawrence of Arabia keeps us captivated the whole way through thanks to a phenomenal cast, an insightful script, breathtaking cinematography, and masterful direction by David Lean. Meanwhile, Peter O'Toole's legendary performance as Lawrence will undoubtedly live forever. Before we reveal the top 3, we would like to thank you for having seen the video so far, and please remember to like and subscribe. One of the greatest dramas of all time, it was released in 1939. When this epic historical drama was first released in theaters, it was screened with an overture, intermission, musical pause, and exit music, giving it a running time of between 234 to 238 minutes, but the film's actual length is closer to 221. Regardless of the exact number, Gone with the Wind won 10 Oscars and earned much critical praise. Perhaps the secret to its success can be found in the central quartet of characters: headstrong Scarlett O'Hara, charming Rhett Butler, and the less colorful but equally complex Ashley Wilkes and Melanie Hamilton, who complete a tangled romantic foursome thrown together and cast apart by chance, destiny, and the fortunes of war. This adaptation of the famous Shakespeare play was released in 1996. Don't mess with director Kenneth Branagh, especially when it has to do with Shakespeare. Of all the Bard adaptations he's done in his career, none has surpassed this 4-hour and 2-minute drama. Directed by Branagh and starring him in title role, this feat of a movie includes every single scene from Shakespeare's original version. Talk about dedication! Despite being set in the 19th century, Hamlet is well known as one of the most faithful Shakespeare adaptations in all of history. A lot of movies have been made about her. This 1963 epic drama may have received mixed reviews, but with a budget that big and 4 Academy Award wins, it's hard to ignore Cleopatra. Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton, and Rex Harrison's performances have been singled out, but then there's its running time of 4 hours and 8 minutes. That's a lot. It was 1963's highest-grossing film, and despite some inaccuracies, it is considered a fairly close look at ancient Egypt during the time of the last active pharaoh, so we guess the length was actually necessary. If you liked the video, please help us with the algorithm by liking, commenting, sharing, and/or subscribing.